Welcome back. You're watching the news on headlines now. Well, badly crippled by the pilot strike, Air India has announced that it will now use bigger aircrafts, including jumbo jets, for the few domestic flights they are still able to operate. But the bad news is that the flights will not be regularized till the 6th of May. Passengers continue to suffer on the 5th day of the strike today, with nearly 90% of Air India's domestic flights cancelled. Flights from Chennai have 4 flights from Chennai also have been cancelled. Air India had stopped operations and perhaps also will look to resume work there. The BJP slammed the Prime Minister's office for the mess in Air India, calling the strike a cover-up. The BJP spokesperson Rajiv Pratap Rudy says it's a ploy to shut down Air India.
The present dispensation of Air India has nothing to do with the ministry. And I'm sorry to say that the present minister has very little role in what is happening in Air India, and that is being controlled completely by the Prime Minister's office. And if I say that, and I mean it, that the CMD of Air India does not report to the Secretary Civil Aviation. The CMD of India does not report to the Civil Aviation Minister. He reports directly to the Prime Minister's office. So all my charges are towards the Prime Minister for this mess.
And while there is still no trace of the helicopter carrying Arunachal Chief Minister Ndtv-Hindu, which went missing yesterday morning, the 5-seater Pawan Hans helicopter carrying Ndtv-Hindu went missing 25 minutes after it took off from Tawang for Itanagar around 10 a.m. on Saturday. All records available do not indicate any direct confirmation of the chopper landing. A crisis management group has been formed in Arunachal Pradesh. And as the search is still going on, there is confusion yesterday when the Chief Minister's office and the Arunachal Governor J.J. Singh confirmed that the chopper has landed safely in Bhutan, reports that only denied later. Now, Ndtv has got exclusive details of a letter by Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister's Home Secretary to his state government officials, which elaborates upon what led to the confusion. So what led to the confusion is the Chief Minister's Principal Secretary gets a call that the helicopter has landed safely in Bhutan. And the Principal Secretary says the caller sounded like the Chief Minister but could not confirm the identity. And then the IGSSB confirms the chopper's safe landing in Bhutan, and the IG of Law and Order tells IGP that Bhutan Army has confirmed the landing. The landing confirmed to the Chief Secretary and the Governor J.J. Singh, and in a twist, the Special Bureau Commissioner tells the IGP that the landing is not confirmed. Moving on, after a 7th-month ordeal, 8 crew members of the Asphalt venture have returned home to Mumbai. However, 7 crew members still remain in the pirates' captivity after Somali pirates double-crossed the ship owners even after the payment of a ransom. The 8 crew members arrived in Mumbai last night. The released crew members have expressed concern over the safety of their colleagues who are still in captivity. And back to news from India. Well, many ports in India are not fulfilling their obligations to carry out sand bypassing to restore the beaches destroyed by the building of ports, says Jairam Ramesh. Speaking at the finale of NDTV's Save India's Coast campaign, the Environment Minister noted the lapse on the part of ports and says that the ministry will carry out an audit of the environment impact of ports in the country.
Port owners the world over are supposed to be responsible for sand bypassing, but we've seen very few ports, if any, are actually doing this. Is there anything that the Environment Ministry can do to actually hold them accountable?
Well, they have to do the dredging. If they're not doing the dredging, they'll have to make sure that they do the dredging. Certainly between the Ministry of Shipping and the Ministry of Environment, we have to ensure that the dredging obligations that the ports have undertaken to do are actually fulfilled. I agree with you.
So you agree that sand bypassing is a must. Can the Environment Ministry with the Shipping Ministry
we'll have a look at it. Yeah, certainly.
Audit every year? If
the idea that we should
doing
do
this, they'll have to pay a hefty fine. They'll be closed down if they don't.
Already, we have taken up the issue of environmental audit. I know, for example, Marmagaon Port, a lot of environmental issues. Every time I go to Goa, these environmental issues are raised by local communities, local residents, by the state government, and we have taken up the whole issue of environmental audit. Then this whole business of dredging, that ports, undertake to do some dredging, which they are not doing, So I agree with you that we need to pay far greater attention to the environmental audit as far as ports is concerned. I agree with you. We'll do it with the Ministry of Shipping and Transport.
Moving on, in a shocking incident, a railway ticket collector allegedly raped a woman in a moving train. The young woman was travelling on the Ajmer-Dadar Express. The TC has now been arrested, but the incident again raises serious questions about the safety of women travelling on Indian trains.
This 25-year-old woman has become the victim of a shameful assault while travelling from Ajmer to Abu Road on the Ajmer-Dadar Express. A 52-year-old ticket collector, Didi Mishra, allegedly raped her in a lonely AC compartment on Friday night. The TT was allegedly drunk and he got the chance to overpower the victim as she was alone and the berths around her vacant.
स्लीपर कोच में बैठी थी मैं और मेरे को एसी में बुलाया एसी में बुलाने के बाद मेरे को करने लग गया था काम और उसके बाद और आगे कुछ नहीं बोलना चाहती मेरे ना भी सर दुख रहा है इस मन में.
When some passengers heard the woman's cries for help, they caught hold of the TT and thrashed him. When the train finally stopped at the Abu Road station, they handed the culprit to the railway police. Initial investigations have confirmed the rape charge and the police have registered a case.
ये पहले पूर्व परिचित हैं, पीड़ित महिला भी उनको जानती है और उसके बाद उन्होंने उसको बहला फुसला के और अपने विश्वास में लेके ये दुष्कर्म किया है जो बिल्कुल गलत है और कठोर कार्रवाई की जाएगी.
Millions of people travel on Indian trains every day and ticket collectors play a crucial role in not only checking their tickets but also ensuring that they don't suffer any difficulties. But if government officials responsible for their safety start assaulting passengers, hardly any woman is likely to feel safe in travelling by the Indian Railways. With Anil Areen in Mount Abu and Rajan Mahan, Tejas Mehta for NDTV.
On to some international news now. Well, the Libyan leader Gaddafi's youngest son, Saif al-Arab, and 3 of his grandchildren were reportedly killed in a NATO airstrike. According to the Libyan government spokesperson, Gaddafi and his wife were in the Tripoli house of his 29-year-old son when it was hit by at least one missile fired by a NATO warplane. The incident happened late on Saturday. Gaddafi himself survived the attack. Libyan officials took journalists to the house, which had been hit by at least 3 missiles. The roof had completely caved in some areas. Saif al-Arab Gaddafi is the most unknown of the Libyan leader's children.
The house of Mr. Saif al-Arab Muammar al-Gaddafi, known as Uruba to most Libyans, who is the youngest of the leader's children, was attacked tonight with full power. The leader with his wife was there in the house with other friends and relatives. The attack resulted in the martyrdom of brother Saif al-Arab Muammar al-Gaddafi, 29-year-old, and 3 of the leader's grandchildren. The leader himself is in good health. He wasn't harmed.
Moving on, the removal of President Saleh of Yemen from his post remains to be on the fence. Protest for his immediate removal continued on Saturday. Yemen's embattled president backed away from a mediated deal that would have seen him step down in exchange for legal immunity. According to reports, Saleh is said did not want to sign the deal that was mediated by a bloc of neighboring Gulf countries. Thousands of protesters have been camping out in Change Square for weeks, demanding the resignation of the president and his government after 32 years in power. Still ahead on the bulletin is the Dostana effect rubbing on its lady star. Is Vicky Chops ready to kiss a girl? Find out when we come back.